My dear friend, every sunrise brings with it a quiet invitation, a chance to become more of who you are meant to be. Life is not about perfection. It's about persistence. And the most important work you will ever do is the work you do on yourself. Your mindset is the foundation of your entire life. Every thought you entertain, every belief you hold, and every perspective you choose shapes the way you experience the world. And because of this, working on your mindset isn't optional. It's essential. Each morning you wake up, your thoughts begin to write the script for the day ahead. Some people start with worry, stress, and a sense of defeat. Others begin with hope, gratitude, and intention. The difference isn't in their circumstances. It's in their mindset. You see, your mind can be your greatest ally or your most persistent enemy. If you feed it negativity, it will mirror the world back to you as dark and hostile. But if you choose to feed it with resilience, positivity, and faith, it will guide you toward a life filled with possibility. This is not about pretending everything is perfect. It's about choosing to respond differently, even when things aren't. Life doesn't always give us control over what happens, but it does give us control over how we think about what happens. Mindset is a practice, not a destination. You have to train it every single day, just like a muscle. When you wake up, choose a thought that empowers you. Don't wait for the perfect day to feel peace. Bring peace into the day you have. Remind yourself of who you are and who you're becoming. There will be moments when fear creeps in, when comparison distracts you, or when self-doubt tries to sabotage your growth. That's when you must anchor yourself in truth. Sometimes your mind will whisper that you're not good enough, that you've failed too many times, that it's too late to start over. These are not facts, they are fears. And fears lose their power when you stop feeding them. So challenge them. Speak back to them with courage. Replace those lies with affirmations that reflect your true worth. Speak life into your dreams. Remind yourself that you're still learning, still growing, still capable of rising again. It's easy to fall into a pattern of negativity. Social media, the news, even the people around you can plant seeds of doubt and discouragement in your mind. That's why guarding your mindset is a daily commitment. You must be intentional about what you consume, who you listen to, and what you allow to grow in the garden of your thoughts. It's not enough to think positively for a few minutes. You have to live it, breathe it, and carry it with you, especially in the difficult moments. Your mindset also affects your relationships, your career, your health, and your ability to bounce back after setbacks. A person with a strong mindset sees failures as lessons, not as definitions of who they are. They see challenges as chances to grow, not as reasons to give up. They understand that the way forward is not always straight or easy, but they keep walking anyway, because their mind is trained to keep going. When you work on your mindset every day, you begin to shift from survival to intention. You stop being a victim of circumstances and become the author of your own story. You stop waiting for something outside of you to change and start cultivating the power within you. And that power becomes your compass in every season of life. Whether you're walking through uncertainty, chasing a dream, or healing from something that once broke you, mindset is the lens through which you see yourself, your future, and the world around you. And the beautiful truth is, you have the ability to adjust that lens every single day. Living with intentional purpose is about waking up each day with clarity, direction, and a quiet commitment to something greater than yourself. It is not about having every answer or following a rigid plan. It is about knowing why you are here and allowing that why to guide your choices, your words, and your actions. So many people go through life on autopilot, checking boxes, meeting expectations, and chasing goals that were never truly theirs. They live busy but unfulfilled, successful but disconnected from their inner truth. Purpose is not about doing more. It's about doing what matters. When you live with purpose, every moment has meaning, even the ordinary ones, even the silent ones. Purpose does not require a grand stage or a spotlight. It can be found in how you speak to others, in how you show up for yourself, in how you handle struggle with grace and hope. Purpose is not about perfection. It's about alignment. When your actions match your values, when your energy flows toward things that matter deeply to you, life begins to feel lighter. Even when it is hard, there's a quiet strength in knowing you are moving in the right direction, even if the pace is slow. Your purpose doesn't have to be one fixed thing. It can evolve as you grow. It can shift with seasons and expand with wisdom. The key is to keep listening to yourself, to what moves you, to what breaks your heart, and what sets it on fire. Purpose often hides in the quiet places, in the things you do without being asked, in the moments that make you forget the clock, in the ways you bring light to the people around you without even realizing it. It's the essence of who you are beneath all the roles, titles, and expectations. Living intentionally means you stop waiting for someday and start showing up fully today. It means you let go of the pressure to be everything and choose instead to be true. You don't need to be loud to make an impact. You just need to be real. Whether your purpose is raising a child, creating art, serving others, building something from nothing, or simply living with integrity, what matters most is that it is yours, not borrowed, not imposed, but chosen. When you work on your purpose daily, you become rooted. Life can shake you, but it cannot uproot you. Disappointments may come, delays may happen, but you know who you are and why you keep going. Purpose gives pain a place to go. It turns suffering into strength. It gives your story depth and your journey direction. It reminds you that even the hard chapters are leading you somewhere. Without purpose, even success feels empty. But with purpose, even the smallest victories feel sacred. You start to measure life differently. Not by how much you have, but by how deeply you live. Not by the noise you make, but by the peace you carry. And when you begin to live this way, you stop comparing your path to others. You honor your own timeline. You trust the process, even when the road is unclear, because you know you're not just existing, you're evolving. Purpose isn't something you find once and forget. It's something you nurture every day, in your choices, in your silence, in your resilience. It's not about chasing more. It's about honoring what's already within you. Your purpose is not a destination. It's the way you walk through life. It's how you love, how you serve, how you show up when no one is watching. It's in the questions you ask yourself in the dark and the courage to live your answers in the light. Protecting and affirming yourself. Worth is one of the most sacred responsibilities you have toward yourself. In a world that constantly tries to tell you who to be, what to look like, how to speak, and what to believe, it takes strength to remain grounded in your truth. Your worth is not defined by the validation you receive, the roles you play, or the opinions others have of you. It is something that exists within you, unchanging, whole, and complete. But to recognize it, you must practice seeing yourself with gentle eyes and an honest heart. There will be moments in life when you are misunderstood, overlooked, or even rejected. That does not mean you are unworthy. It means you are human. Not everyone will see your value, and not everyone is meant to. You must learn to be okay with being too much for some and not enough for others. The only approval that truly matters is your own. Every time you speak kindly to yourself, every time you forgive your past, every time you choose to believe in your potential despite the noise around you, you affirm your worth. Self-worth is not about arrogance or superiority. It's about recognizing that you are enough as you are, even while you continue to grow. It's knowing that your voice matters, your presence makes a difference, and your life holds value, whether others acknowledge it or not. It's not something you earn by doing more or being perfect. It's something you uncover as you unlearn the lies the world has taught you. Lies that said you had to be thinner, richer, louder, quieter, smarter, or more successful to deserve love and respect. Working on yourself, worth means setting boundaries without guilt. It means learning to walk away from spaces that dim your light and relationships that drain your soul. You do not owe anyone an explanation for protecting your peace. You owe yourself the life you quietly dream about, the joy you keep postponing, and the love you so freely give to others. Stop waiting for someone else to choose you. Choose yourself, again and again without apology. There will be days when you feel fragile, when your reflection seems unfamiliar, when your spirit feels tired. Those are not signs of weakness. They are reminders that healing is not linear and that even the strongest hearts need rest. On those days, remember that your worth doesn't disappear when your confidence wavers. It doesn't vanish when you make a mistake or take a step backward. It remains intact, waiting for you to remember who you are. Affirming yourself, worth also means releasing comparison. No one else's journey can diminish yours. You were never meant to fit into someone else's mold. You were meant to stand tall in your uniqueness and create a path that reflects your soul. When you compare yourself to others, you abandon your own story. But when you focus on your growth, your values, and your inner peace, you begin to see your reflection as enough, just as it is. To protect your self-worth, you must become mindful of the words you speak to yourself. Are they nurturing or critical? Are they rooted in truth or fear? Speak to yourself the way you would speak to someone you love, with patience, with tenderness, with grace. Celebrate your progress, no matter how small. Honor your effort, even when the results are unseen. And believe, even on the hard days, that you are still worthy of love, joy, and belonging. Your worth is not a question that needs answering. It is a truth that needs remembering. You are not broken. You are becoming. And in every stage of becoming, you are still enough. Discipline is the quiet force that builds dreams behind closed doors, away from the applause and the spotlight. It is the daily decision to keep showing up for yourself, even when motivation fades, even when no one is watching, even when the results seem invisible. Discipline is not about being harsh with yourself. It's about being faithful to the vision you carry in your heart. There will be days when you feel uninspired, when the weight of routine becomes heavy, and the path ahead seems too far. But that is where discipline steps in, reminding you that consistency matters more than intensity. Many people wait for inspiration to strike before they act. But those who build meaningful lives understand that action often comes first. You do the work not because you always feel like it, but because your future deserves the effort. You follow through not because the journey is easy, but because something inside you knows it's worth it. Discipline is waking up early when the world is still quiet. It's staying committed when distractions are loud and tempting. It's saying yes to growth and no to comfort. There is beauty in discipline because it teaches you to trust yourself. Every time you honor a commitment to your well-being, to your purpose, or to your goals, you prove to yourself that you are capable. And that self-trust becomes a foundation, something steady to stand on when life gets unpredictable. The discipline you practice today becomes the strength you rely on tomorrow. It's not always glamorous. It's not always fast. But it is always transformational. Discipline also requires you to make peace with discomfort. Growth is not always a joyful process. Sometimes it feels like sacrifice. Sometimes it feels like silence. Sometimes it feels like showing up again and again with no sign of progress. But even then, you are building something. You are shaping character, endurance, and resilience. You are teaching yourself how to keep going without applause, how to stay focused without recognition, how to plant seeds without immediately seeing the bloom. It's important to remember that discipline doesn't mean perfection. You will stumble. You will miss days. You will face setbacks. But discipline is what allows you to begin again without shame. It's the voice that says, I may have fallen, but I am not done. It's the quiet confidence that whispers, I'll try again tomorrow. The more you practice discipline, the less power you give to excuses. You stop waiting for the right mood, and instead, you create the right moment. In a world that often glorifies ease and shortcuts, discipline teaches you the value of patience. It reminds you that lasting results come from slow, steady effort. That depth is built over time. That mastery is the result of showing up when it's hard, not just when it's exciting. You don't need to make giant leaps every day. Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is simply not quit. Discipline also creates space for freedom. When you are disciplined with your time, your energy, and your focus, you begin to live with greater clarity. You're no longer at the mercy of chaos. You become intentional, grounded, empowered. You start to see that structure is not confinement, it's support. That routines are not cages, they are stepping stones. Discipline doesn't take away your freedom. It gives it back to you by helping you become who you truly want to be. The person you are becoming is hidden in your daily habits. The life you dream of is not waiting at the end of some distant road. It's being built in the quiet moments. You choose discipline over distraction, purpose over comfort, and consistency over excuses. Gratitude is one of the most powerful forces you can cultivate in your life. It has the quiet ability to shift your entire perspective, to turn scarcity into sufficiency, and to transform even the most ordinary days into sacred ones. When you begin to see life through the lens of gratitude, you start to recognize the beauty in things you once took for granted. The warmth of sunlight on your skin, the kindness in someone's smile, the quiet moments of peace in a chaotic day. Gratitude is not about pretending everything is perfect. It's about seeing the goodness that still exists, even in imperfection. In the most difficult seasons of life, gratitude becomes a lifeline. It doesn't erase pain, but it gives pain a place to rest. It reminds you that even in brokenness, there is still something to hold on to. Maybe it's a friend who stood by you. Maybe it's the lesson you learned after falling. Maybe it's simply the strength to take one more step. Gratitude shifts your focus from what is missing to what is present. And in doing so, it brings peace to your heart and stillness to your soul. Gratitude is a practice. It is not something that simply appears when life is going well. It is something you choose. You choose it in the morning when you wake up with worries. You choose it in the evening when the day didn't go as planned. You choose it when you are tired, disappointed, or uncertain. Gratitude becomes an anchor, something that keeps you grounded when emotions try to sweep you away. It invites you to look again, to see the blessings that are quietly unfolding, even when your eyes are clouded with doubt. When you practice gratitude daily, you begin to find meaning in the smallest of details. You begin to notice the resilience in your own breath, the rhythm of your heartbeat, the way your body continues to carry you through it all. You begin to see people differently, not just for what they give, but for who they are. You listen more, judge less, and start to appreciate what truly matters. Gratitude opens your heart, and from that openness, kindness flows more easily. Gratitude also creates space for joy. Not the kind of joy that comes from achievements or possessions, but the deeper kind, the kind that comes from simply being alive. When you stop chasing happiness and start noticing the joy already around you, you realize that contentment is not a destination. It is a way of being. It is present in shared laughter, in simple meals, in quiet mornings, in the sound of rain, in the feeling of home. The more grateful you become, the more beauty you find. In relationships, gratitude is the bridge that connects hearts. When you express appreciation, not just in words, but in presence, you strengthen the bond between yourself and others. Gratitude says, I see you. I value you. I do not take you for granted. It has the power to heal wounds, soften conflict, and nurture love. And the most beautiful part is that gratitude multiplies. The more you give it, the more it grows. The more you notice, the more there is to be thankful for. There will always be things you wish were different. That is the nature of life. But gratitude teaches you to hold space for both longing and appreciation, to desire more without dishonoring what already is, to work toward change while being fully present in the now. It is not about settling. It is about honoring the journey and trusting that even here, even now, there is purpose. Your life will not always be easy, but it can always be meaningful. And gratitude is the key that helps you see that meaning, even on the hardest days. It is the light that flickers in the darkness, the whisper that says, look again. A forgiveness is not something you offer for the sake of others. It is something you do to set yourself free. Carrying resentment is like holding onto a burning coal, hoping it will harm someone else, but all it does is wound your own soul. Forgiveness is not about forgetting or excusing what was done. It's about releasing the grip that pain has on your heart. It's choosing peace over bitterness, healing over hate, and growth over stagnation. And while it may not change the past, it transforms the way the past lives within you. There are moments in life when the hurt feels too deep, the betrayal too sharp, and the memory too heavy. It's natural to resist the idea of forgiving those who caused that pain. But the longer you carry it, the more it weighs you down. It becomes harder to breathe, harder to trust, harder to move forward. Forgiveness is not saying that what happened was okay. It's saying, I will no longer let this control my life. It's a quiet revolution that begins in the heart, a decision to stop reliving what broke you and start reclaiming your power. Sometimes the person you need to forgive is not someone else. It's yourself. It's for the moments you fell short, the decisions you regret, the versions of yourself that were simply trying to survive. Self-forgiveness is one of the most courageous acts of self-love. It means recognizing that you are not your mistakes. You are the lessons you've learned, the grace you've shown, and the effort you continue to make. You cannot become your fullest self while holding on to guilt. You deserve to make peace with your past and allow yourself to begin again. Forgiveness takes time. It is not always instant. Some wounds require space to breathe, to be understood, to be held with compassion before they can be released. And that's okay. Healing is not linear. There will be days when the pain resurfaces and old memories echo in your mind. That doesn't mean you failed at forgiving. It means you are human. The important thing is to keep choosing release over resentment, even if you have to choose it again and again. When you forgive, you reclaim your energy. You stop giving your power to those who hurt you. You redirect that energy toward rebuilding, toward loving, toward creating. You stop defining yourself by what was done to you and begin shaping your identity around who you are becoming. Forgiveness doesn't mean you go back to how things were. It means you move forward with clarity, boundaries, and strength. It's the gift you give yourself when you're ready to rise beyond the story of pain. Forgiveness also opens your heart to deeper empathy. You begin to understand that hurt people, that those who caused harm may have been broken themselves. This doesn't justify their actions, but it helps you see with softer eyes. It reminds you that we are all flawed, all carrying wounds, all in need of grace. And when you begin to forgive others, you expand your capacity for love. You break the cycle of anger and create room for something new, something lighter, in a world that often confuses strength with vengeance and healing with denial. Forgiveness stands as a quiet, unwavering strength. It's the decision to no longer be defined by the pain, to no longer carry what was never yours to hold. It takes courage to forgive. It takes maturity to choose release. And it takes deep compassion to do so without expecting anything in return. But that is the kind of freedom that transforms not just the heart, but the entire life it carries.